Hey everyone, let's dive right into this. If you're working in enterprise IT or business leadership today, I am willing to bet you're feeling a massive sense of urgency around AI adoption. It's everywhere, right? You know your teams need it, you know your competitors are actively exploring it, but the million-dollar question is, how do you actually deploy it securely, right there where people do their work every single day? Well, in today's Explainer, we are going to structurally demystify the Microsoft 365 Copilot ecosystem. We'll look at what it actually is, how it works under the hood, the realities of licensing, and absolutely crucial, how to govern the whole thing safely.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going from the AI security incident to graph and connectors, specialized agents, the licensing reality, custom AI agents, and finally, governance and the Copilot family. Let's just jump right in. Part 1. The AI security incident, or what we like to call shadow AI in the enterprise.
To really understand why Microsoft 365 Copilot is built the way it is, you have to look at this case study from Gasol Enterprises. Just picture this. It's a Thursday afternoon, and Gasol's CTO, Priya Sharma, gets an absolute panic call from the legal department. It turns out employees in the contracts department were pasting confidential vendor agreements into personal ChatGPT accounts. Look, they were just trying to be productive, right? Just trying to summarize some incredibly dense legal text, but the legal exposure here is massive. They were literally pasting commercially sensitive pricing, exclusivity clauses, and supplier negotiation tactics into an external tool that Gasol has zero control over.
Now, your knee-jerk reaction might be, okay, we just have to ban AI entirely. But banning AI today is basically like banning email back in 1999. Employees will absolutely find a way to use it, and driving it underground just totally ruins your data governance. So the real solution? It's Microsoft 365 Copilot. It gives your teams a governed, enterprise-grade AI experience right inside Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Teams. And the absolute key difference here is that your data stays entirely within your existing Microsoft 365 security boundary. It strictly follows the access controls you already have in place.
Moving on to Section 2, Graph and Connectors, the Intelligence Engine.
Okay, let's pop the hood and see exactly how Copilot accesses and synthesizes your organization's specific information so safely. And that brings us to the Microsoft Graph. Think of the graph as the underlying data layer that connects and continuously indexes all your Microsoft 365 content. So, when you ask Copilot to, say, summarize last month's vendor contract discussions, it isn't just randomly searching the web. It is actually querying the Microsoft Graph, pulling directly from your emails in Outlook, your files in SharePoint, your chats in Teams, to intelligently synthesize an answer based entirely on your specific organizational reality.
But you're probably wondering, what exactly can it see? Well, yes, out of the box, it can access emails, files, and meetings already sitting in M365. But by default, it absolutely cannot access your on-premises file shares, public websites, or that custom CRM system you built. And here is a very calming mantra for all the IT admins listening out there: the principle of least privilege. Copilot only ever surfaces content that the signed-in user is already authorized to see. If you don't manually have access to the HR payroll folder, Copilot is definitely not going to find it for you either.
But wait, what if you actually want Copilot to see data outside of M365? Let's say your finance team runs on a totally external ERP system. That is exactly where you'd implement a Microsoft Graph connector. Microsoft offers these pre-built connectors for major tools like Salesforce and SAP. Once you plug that in, suddenly you can securely query that external data using natural language right inside your Copilot prompt. And the best part? You don't need a separate Copilot Studio license to use these connectors.
All right, Section 3, Specialized Agents, Researcher and Analyst. Now, Microsoft 365 Copilot gets a lot of fame for drafting emails and summarizing meetings, but it actually has these incredibly advanced, specialized capabilities built right in. First up is the Researcher Agent, which is designed for deep knowledge synthesis. Back to our case study, the strategy team at Gasol uses this exact agent to build comprehensive competitive intelligence briefings. And we're not talking about it just handing you a list of web links. It actively combines your internal organizational data from the graph, like your highly private strategy docs, with external web trends. Then, it uses reasoning capabilities to deliver a fully synthesized, cohesive analysis. It's like having a dedicated research assistant.
And then we have the Analyst Agent, which is a total game changer for operations teams. You feed this agent tabular data sets or business reports right in Excel. You could literally upload a massive regional sales spreadsheet and just ask it, hey, which product categories are growing the fastest? The Analyst Agent instantly calculates those growth trajectories, generates a beautiful chart, and then gives you a plain English explanation of the results. It's seriously impressive. Which brings us to Section 4, the licensing reality. Basically, what costs what.
Okay, we really need to clear up a major myth right now because it is causing some very expensive misunderstandings out there. Zero. That is exactly how many base Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 Enterprise subscriptions include Microsoft 365 Copilot by default. There's no secret bundling happening here. Even if you are a massive Enterprise E5 customer, Microsoft 365 Copilot requires a completely separate paid per-user add-on license.
Let's break down exactly what you're getting, though. That paid M365 Copilot add-on unlocks the whole shebang, deep integration into Word, Excel, Teams, plus those specialized agents we just talked about. Contrast that with Copilot Chat, which is a lighter experience that is actually included in your base license. Copilot Chat gives you conversational AI that can safely access your organizational data, but it does not deeply integrate into your Office apps, and it doesn't offer those advanced agents. Also, keep in mind, the M365 add-on is a per-user subscription, not a pay-as-you-go Azure consumption plan.
Okay, moving right along to Section 5, Custom AI Agents, Studio versus Declarative.
So what happens when out-of-the-box Copilot just isn't enough? Say your HR team really needs a standalone 24/7 chatbot to answer employee policy questions. For that specific need, you have to turn to Microsoft Copilot Studio. See, Copilot inside Word or Teams is fantastic for your personal productivity, but you can't just deploy it as an independent chatbot for other people to chat with. Copilot Studio is a completely separate, standalone, low-code platform designed exactly for IT teams to go in and build custom multi-turn conversational agents. It's super important to understand the boundaries here. Copilot Studio builds these standalone agents that connect to your business data and automate user interactions, and it can seamlessly escalate to human agents if needed. But what it does not do is draft your Word documents or build your PowerPoint decks. That's M365 Copilot's territory. And it absolutely positively does not configure your document security or permissions. That relies entirely on Microsoft Purview.
But hey, what if you don't need a whole new bot? What if you just want to tweak the Copilot you've already got? Enter Declarative Agents. Think of this as your perfect, low-cost middle ground. It's essentially a light experience using Copilot Studio, where you aren't writing complex code to build something from scratch. Instead, you just declare new instructions and new data sources to extend your existing Microsoft 365 Copilot workflow. It's fast, it's lightweight, and it's perfect for specialized team workflows that just don't warrant a heavy standalone bot.
And finally, Section 6, Governance and Family, the Big Picture.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at the broader Microsoft AI ecosystem. We really need to resolve a major point of naming confusion here. Copilot is not just one monolithic app. It's actually a whole family of purpose-built tools. We spent time today on Microsoft 365 Copilot for business users and Copilot Studio for building custom bots, but there's also Security Copilot for your threat investigation teams, GitHub Copilot for your software developers, and Copilot in Azure for your infrastructure management. They all share that Copilot name, but they are highly specialized for their specific domains.
Which leaves us with one incredibly critical question to wrap up this explainer. If Copilot can instantly search across everything in your Microsoft 365 environment, what exactly happens to those sensitive files you forgot you shared 5 years ago? This is a phenomenon called data governance amplification. If your SharePoint permissions are a total mess right now, Copilot is going to instantly make that mess highly visible. It will find sensitive documents faster than a human ever could. The technology is absolutely incredible, but it leaves you with a very clear mandate. You must audit your permissions and lock down your data governance before you turn this intelligence engine on. Are your digital files truly ready for Copilot to read them? That's something you definitely need to think very carefully about.